Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to These Go to 11. Once again, I'm Nathan Bell. Joining me as always, Zach Bartle. Zach, what's going on, man?
Oh, nothing. I'm excited to read about us.
That's right. Dude, this is actually kind of exciting because I think Greg and I maybe did one or two of these early on in the podcast, but we really didn't do a whole lot of reading. And dude, we got a ton of responses. We got two people who, one of them actually wrote on all three podcasts, wrote a review on all three podcasts. And so for Barefoot MK Forever, we have a special gift for you. Zach is actually going to treat you to one of his books. So when we do the announcement of what you need to do to email us and all that stuff, if you just email and let me know, I will make sure that Zach gets that message.
You think MK is like missionary's kid?
That's what I was thinking because like
a barefoot. That's awesome. Barefoot missionary kid forever.
I want to know who this is, like, because it looks like it was from a Twitter handle or something, right? At Barefoot MK Forever. So,
yeah, that must be the okay. That's the Twitter. That's going to be easily verified then.
Yes.
Other ones, you never know. Somebody might just get in there and be like, oh yeah, I'm a bowl of soup. I got a beer stein and a sticker coming my way.
That's right.
But are you really?
But yeah, that's right. One of the things that I will say is we had so many responses. I'm going to have to do almost a little bit of a jerk move. I don't think it's quite a jerk move, but I'm going to have to limit this to 2 weeks for you to respond to us. So not next week, which is I think the 10th, but the week after, which would be the 18th, 17th, or 18th of April. By then, letting us know who you are and getting in on this, just because of everything that's going into getting the names and addresses out to Mission Aware and getting all that stuff involved. And like I said, when you break down the doubles of who responded on Gut Check, Clinch, and These Go to 11, it boils down to about 18 individual people who did these. And so just for, the sanity of myself having to coordinate all these and send all this off, please make sure that you respond to us via email at thesegoto11, all spelled out, then the number 15 at gmail.com. And if you have any questions, you can always, hit me up on Twitter or Facebook, and I can make sure that, any questions or confusions you have, I straighten out. But Zach, I am totally excited to read about us, and I would, I want to leave the Gut Check and the Clinch reviews to you, since those are, since those are your actual two podcasts you do, the one with Ted and then the one on your own, and then so this is kind of what I'm envisioning, and you can let me know if you want to read, just back and forth, one after the other, and we can kind of hang on the ones we feel are like, this is worth giving some attention to. And then the ones that are just kind of, generically, hey, this is cool podcast, listen, we can move on.
Sounds good, man. You know what I like the most about these? They're all 5-star, except one.
Yep.
But they all, no, except two. But you know what? They all still get the full. We're not bribing you.
That's right.
Because that would be that might be illegal. Definitely against iTunes policy. You know what I love? I love when Jimmy Fowler on good grief, how am I blanking on my favorite podcast? I almost said to reform. Okay. A Doctrine and Devotion. Fofo comes out every week with and leave us an honest 5-star review where you kind of get in there like, we want just your honest feedback, but we'll tell you what you think. Right. We want the 5 stars. Oh man. All right, yeah. Great. And I want to just say off the bat, and I mean, it's obvious what we've got here, Nathan. Everyone knows a bit of a budding bromance. And people are going to get tired of you and I, talking to each other up here. But I want to say thank you for including Gut Check and Clinch. You didn't have to do that. No, you're sharing the wealth, and that's kind of you. Oh, absolutely. I mean, to me, I love the stuff that's going on over there. I want people to know about it. I want them to be aware of it.
it's kind of unfair to be like, oh yeah, I like Happy Rant too. You know, Ted's on that one. I enjoy, you know, the chemistry that goes on over there with Barnabas, but like they really don't need any more hype and publicity. I mean,
they need less hype and publicity.
So, but with Gut Check and Clinch, like I mean, totally honest here, Gut Check, I got into several years ago. I think it was right after you came on the podcast and was listening to you guys. And dude, I believe this is going to be mentioned tonight. The SodaStream episode was one of my favorite episodes. It's still one of my favorite episodes because you literally just like right in the middle of it remembered you forgot a key portion of like the soda streaming, stopped the podcast, went out to Walmart and came back.
Dude, that was a saddest trip to Walmart ever. What's more depressing? What's more depressing than a trip to Walmart in Grand Ledge, Michigan? Maybe like a trip to, you know, somewhere where there's like a war going on, or I don't know. Maybe not. At least you know what to expect then.
Right.
All right. Hey, well, let me jump into this, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with a couple of Gut Check pod ones quick. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the now legendary at Barefoot MK Forever, Hans Bubby. This is a Fawning review. That's the name of it. 5 stars. There are many podcasts in the world, especially in reformdom, but there is only one that keeps you guessing and entertained as well as Gut Check. Bring back the energy drinks. Oh, man. You want to hear something?
Yeah.
My doctor told me to cool it on the energy drinks.
Really?
And it wasn't like this is super bad for you. It was more like you're probably walking around dehydrated.
Oh, okay. So is that really why you guys haven't done them a whole lot on Gut Check, or?
No, we do them when we get together and we're in the same room. Otherwise, It's kind of hard. We've had a few people like go to the trouble of mailing 2 separate packages, one up here to Michigan, one down to Tennessee, so that we'll have the same one.
Yep.
And we don't do it right away. My boy Ted will drink the thing, and he'll just drink it because he's thirsty. And I'm like, dude, somebody like bought that, and they went to the post office and they paid a bunch of money to ship it out. And he's just like, yeah, I was thirsty though. So it doesn't work out very well.
Oh, that's funny. Dude,
next one is hysterical. Baby, Baby, Baby. That's the name. 5 star. This is from Bob Sponge 42. And it says, where is the word baby used more? In the movie Baby Driver? In a Lamaze class? Or an episode of the Gut Check podcast? Take a listen to Ted and Zach, then decide. 2 friends and business partners who don't take themselves too seriously, but do take their energy drinks, cigars, and retro tech, parenthetical, Palm Pilots, anyone? Very seriously. Beautiful. Nice. I love that. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a Palm Pilot?
No, believe it or not, I actually am not a fan of technology. I get into it and I learn it because I have to. It's a necessity. But I didn't even have my own cell phone until 2 years ago. My wife and I actually shared one starting about 5 years ago. We got a house and we were renting the basement. So we were like, well, renters are probably going to need to get a hold of us if they need anything. So we should have this cell phone in case of an emergency. So we literally got it for that. And then, fast forward a few years, I went and I was working for my cousin who owned a construction company. And he was like, I need you to have a cell phone. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, well, then you're going to need to pay for it. So he did. He went out and he paid the bill. And then when I left the company, he was like, you know, I'll give it to you really cheap if you're using it for your podcast stuff. And so that's what happened. I just kind of bought it off of him, and that's why I now own one. But yeah, literally, I would not have a cell phone if it was not necessary for the podcast.
Dude, for like, if you're scheduling stuff, what do you use? Just paper? Like an animal?
Yeah, what do you mean? Like if I have meetings or appointments or things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually what I would typically do is I would send an email to myself because I check email every single day being a teacher. So so before that, I would send an email to my account, and you know, I would not open it. I would just leave it there unopened, because all the email in my inbox that's unopened, I just double check once a day to be like, do I actually need this or not? So I would see, I have a meeting at such and such a time, and that's how I keep that.
Now, what if I were to send you a Palm Pilot with the idea that you would, by way of experiment for the purposes of the podcast, try to use it for a week and see if you wound up loving it?
I would totally experiment with it.
This is happening, man.
All right.
This is happening.
I would totally experiment with it. So, listeners, stay tuned for Trials by Palm Pilot.
Nice. Dude, let's hear one for These Go to 11.
All right. So, These Go to 11. Great podcast by, as you mentioned earlier, La Bowl of Soup.
That's brilliant.
A 5-star review. I've been listening to the podcast for quite a while, and I have to say that I absolutely love this podcast. They are wonderful in their choice of topics and always gracious. This is kind of, a little providential with what we just spoke with our good friend John about, towards the people that they're interviewing. More than that, I appreciate the way that they always want to go back to what the Bible actually says when they discuss the topic.
It would have been funny if it would have been funny and ironic on a couple levels if we would have just been jerks to Johnny Krotz. Like, this graciousness book is garbage, and then read that review.
What were you thinking?
Aren't you embarrassed?
Yeah, it's funny because Greg and I would always joke off air about, if we were like to just be done with the podcast and like have a last one, what would we do? What would we say?
It's like when you're trying to get fired on Office Space, right?
That's right. That's my stapler.
Who do you think is like the biggest name we could get on just to like punk them with the last podcast?
Well, John Frame, we've had him on. I still have his contact information, so we could totally.
You do not pick a fight with John Frame. A fight of the words, anyway. Or, I mean, he's a big hombre. A fight, period.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I know that you're beyond purple belt, but now John Frame. Oh no, that's John Lennox. For a minute, I was going to say John Frame is like Kristen Getty's uncle, but that's John Lennox.
Oh, okay.
But either way, he's a giant. I vaguely remember, dude. I binged like the first, I want to say 30. These Go to 11s. On like, you ever have a Saturday, you're just like, I'm doing everything. I do all the laundry. I'm gonna fix this thing that's broken. I'm gonna do it, and you're like, and I'm not just gonna do it and sit there and think about what I'm doing. I'm just gonna pipe, and I binged them. So I probably heard that in the midst of a bunch of stuff. I should listen again.
Oh yeah,
I'm a huge fan. Like, you can't read. No one can. Cornelius Van Til. Only John Frame can read Cornelius Van Til. Then you've got to read John Frame explaining Cornelius Van Til.
Man, I think we've had him on 2 or 3 times, and the dude is such a G. I mean, talk about graciousness, and I literally, I don't mean this, as a pun, but like, the dude is so smart and so humble about what he knows, and all the stuff that we were talking about tonight. I mean, this is wrapped up in that man, somebody who has all of this knowledge, all of this insight into theology and things that you've never even thought of or heard of before. I mean, he's coined how many terms in the Christian circles and communities, and just the way he presents this, though, is just, very humble and down to earth man with the way that he talks about those things.
I'm friends with him on Facebook, and it's funny once in a while when he says something that just like a regular person would say, like he's annoyed at the bank or something, and you're like, wait, really? John Frame?
That happens to you?
I wouldn't have imagined that you go to the bank. I don't know.
I thought you had people to do that.
Right. In the decadence and excess that is theology academia.
Oh my gosh.
I imagine these guys are, they're just sitting there like on a giant mountain of cocaine grading papers. Well, People go out and pick up their dry cleaning for them.
The wolf of seminary school.
No, give us another one here, man.
All right.
I need more. I need more affirmation.
All right. Always worth a listen. This is by Reed Benzo. 5 stars. Whether it's Nathan and Greg, Nathan and Steve, or Nathan and Zach, and then parentheses, Zach with Z-A-C-K, question mark. He spelt your name correctly the first time.
Yeah, let me stop you there a minute. That's a recurring theme here, and it's Zach with an H. That's the way God wants it to be. If you see someone spells it with a K, that's one of the other Zachs. That's the other team. It's like, you know what I mean? And by that I mean Satan. It's like
pork, the other white meat. Zach, the other Zach. The hosts always have something interesting to talk about.
Except for right now. Apparently.
They just totally got off topic and are amusing themselves. Oh, man. All right. Recenter, refocus. They get into theology, Christian living, social issues, and everything in between, and they're always open to talking outside their bubble. Their interviews are good, too. I especially like the interview with Chris Date on the topic of annihilationism. Even when they don't agree with their guests, they're very gracious and respectful. They never get into heated arguments, and they're always tuned into pop culture, too. Shout out to Mission Aware. There's our plug for Mission Aware, baby.
Boom. Mission Aware. I can't believe Mission Aware is so the largesse of this group to provide all of these prizes.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the small s,
yes,
which is the opposite of large s, when it comes to getting the Gut Check T-shirts off the Happy Rant page. It's a paradox is what it is.
It's like you entered the Twilight Zone. In a world.
In a world where some podcasts find themselves, dude, it's raining product on these Go to 11. Feast or famine.
Oh, but we do want to thank thank Mission Aware from these Go to 11 for doing that.
That's spectacular.
So sending out everyone who left the review, you're going to get these Go to 11 beer mug and these Go to 11 vinyl sticker. So again, 2 weeks to respond. We have more of these that we are going to be reading, but I just want to put that little plug in there before Zach picks up with some of the reviews. If you heard your name, notice that we're reading the names. We're doing that for a reason. Email us these go to 11, all spelled out, then the number 15 at gmail.com, and let us know who you are, and I will make sure that you get your vinyl sticker and your beer mug. Zach, take it away.
Here's another gut check one. This is the third gut check one. Great show, deserves fawning review, 5 stars. From Dominic Canto. Seinfeld was a great show about... No, this is crazy crossover. We read this on the Gut Check pod a couple weeks ago. Seinfeld was a great show about nothing. This podcast is like that, except it's about energy drink reviews, eating a box of tacos, smoking cigars, running commentary on B-movies, writing whatever book they want, 90s nostalgia, the enduring Palm Pilot, and endless Die Hard, Rocky, and Karate Kid references that will get you through the day like a champ. Ted and Zach are hilarious and engaging in whatever random crap they are doing. If you don't like the show, you are likely the problem. Keep it up, fellas.
That is excellent. And I remember the box of tacos one, too. That was just like 20 minutes of listening to you and Ted just like... Yeah, so we got like 5 more of these.
There's literally no way you can predict what people are going to like. Like, we sat there and ate tacos into a microphone grossly, and people are still talking about it like 3 years later. Like, literally, we're in Israel, right? We're overlooking the old city of Jerusalem, and somebody in the group says, wait a minute, so you guys have a podcast? Cliff Graham turns to them and says, you have to listen to it. One time, they reviewed a box of tacos on the air. And then we're right where Jesus walked. And I'm like, what? We're talking about the tacos, though.
No parables about, kind of crossing over with the message, Jesus turning the bread into tacos or anything like that?
Sacrilegious.
Oh man, I'm going to read another one from These Go to 11, and then I'm going to let you read your clinch ones because those are also pretty dank. So I dig these conversation, 5 stars from Blue Fang. Now, I got to be honest, I was a little disappointed because the name Blue Fang was actually really cool, so I was hoping for a really long and in-depth review, but
sounds like it would be a sonnet or something.
I know, right?
Or like Beowulf.
Yeah, exactly.
Blue Fang, BLEU Fang, like not even spelling it the traditional way.
Yeah,
but like blue cheese.
That's right. Blue.
That's where it comes from. The guy really likes blue cheese.
There you go. And he's got fangs. Maybe he really likes his dog. Maybe his dog's name's Blue Fang instead of White Fang
because his dog likes.
Oh man! So
after all that build up, let's hear the review.
I know, right? Thanks for being real. # honesty. # grace.
Wonderful.
I told you I was a little disappointed. I was hoping for the epic, like you said, like that epic Beowulf, yeah, here we go. Thanks for being real. # honesty. # grace.
The next one's epic, and it comes from a guy that's actually kind of a legend in his own right on the Gut Check podcast, and that's Cajon Man.
Yes, the real Cajon Man.
The real Cajon. It's like the real Chuck Weebus. There's many imitators out there, but this is the real Cajon Man. Cajon.
Cajon. Yeah, I guess technically that is the Hispanic, right? Cajon.
Cajon.
Totally not reviewing this just to get free stuff. I love how whenever a review starts out like that, because it is about the free stuff. Gentlemen, you have a great podcast, and I'm not just saying that to get the free stuff. Although, ... I do still expect the free stuff. It never fails to make me chuckle. In my humble opinion, Zach, or is it Zach, again, so Zach's name is actually spelled Zach. I couldn't be bothered to look it up. Is the best co-host yet.
Judas, man. I couldn't be bothered 3 seconds to look it up.
Oh, man. You guys should totally do a live show like the Happy Rant. Better yet, you could, and the Happy Rant could do a mini conference wherein you would both do a live recording. Keep up the good work, fellas. And as always, to hell with the devil. Striper reference.
Dude, I was texting you about this last week. The notion that we need to get up at one of these little big conferences that everyone's doing this now, right? You get in on the coattails of the conference. Yeah. You get breakout ballroom, sub ballroom D or whatever, where you're in one of those big PVC pipe and felt divider kind of situation. Right. Set up 40 chairs. And then you record live, quote unquote, the podcast. Yeah. And feel like you're on par with the guy who's giving the keynote address, and that's Al Mohler.
Right. Well,
I love Cajon Man.
Dude, and it was funny because, you texted me this, and I had not read this review at that point. And I was like, well, I think we should do one of two things. Either crash Happy Rants, just get right in there and get right up on stage and crash theirs, or be, do it on the eve of the conference, since they do theirs on the eve of the conference.
Right. We're even more ahead of the times.
That's right.
I like the idea of, live in Louisville or live at Together for the Rant, by the way. I have a T-shirt Ted and I made in 2008 called Together for Gut Check.
Nice.
Just saying. But I say we get there, we go up in the front row, and all during their thing, we're just whispering loudly into the microphone, doing our own Mystery Science Theater 3000 commentary on their thing.
Okay, not to go all ADD on you, but have you seen the new ones that Netflix put out?
No, there's new ones. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, look up Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's it's a new set of them that they did that they have out there. They are fantastic. They are still hysterical.
And they have Tom Servo and all the original
Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I'm going to for sure.
And are you familiar?
My favorite ones.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, are you familiar at all with riff tracks?
Yeah. See,
yeah.
For me, they didn't quite do it. It didn't have the
Gotcha.
It didn't have the charm of the small budget feel of the original, like the trying, with the space effects and.
Did you ever listen to the ones they did for the prequels of Star Wars?
No.
Oh my goodness, those are worth their weight in gold. Did you like the prequels of Star Wars?
Heavens no.
Okay, so that's where it fits, because you have these movies that are supposed to be these A-list movies, but really the quality of them is in the B range, and them doing those is hysterical. I downloaded episode 1, 2, and 3 and watched them. Oh my goodness, I could not stop laughing. They were,
and the deal there is you have to download the MP3 and play it along with your own copy of the DVD, right?
Yeah. So they have different points where you check to make sure that the audio stays synced up with what's going on. So as the audio's playing on the movie, you're listening to the audio, their audio commentary going over it. Oh man, it is. Oh, it's worth its weight in gold. I think I paid $12 for all 3 of them, and it was best purchase I've ever made.
Not to oversell it.
No, not to oversell it. What were you going to say about him?
I was going to say, I don't know. I was going to say my favorite ones are there's like a series of like 1950s and 60s, like instructional things like hygiene and like, don't drive angry. And I used to watch those with a buddy of mine that went to my church, and we watched them 100 times. They were so much funnier even than like Mono's Hands of Fate or whatever.
Right.
Very, very funny stuff. But I'm chomping at the bit here to get to people giving me praise for my other podcast.
Yeah,
so Can I read these Clinch ones?
Absolutely.
All right. Inspiring 5 stars at Barefoot MK Forever. I love the honesty in Zach's sharing of his story of his literary career. In other words, she loves my honesty in sharing my downward spiral of a literary career. I don't necessarily aspire to be an author, but that doesn't matter because it has been really helpful for me to see and better understand what all the author has to go through in order to get a book out. It makes me better appreciate books and stories a lot more. Zach's YA story of Clinch Rock is great, and I love getting to hear the next chapter of each podcast. So that's the book. When that one's going to be out in paperback shortly, and I'll send that to Barefoot MK. I don't know why I assumed, maybe because dudes don't usually talk about being barefoot, that it was a woman, but I don't know that it is.
Yeah, that's true. I actually had the same thought, that I was thinking it was the same. But I want to look up Barefoot MK and friend this person on Twitter, link up with them, because I love the name, and why not?
Yeah, and you know what? We don't care if you're a man or a woman. We just love your fawning words.
That's right.
And 2 of my favorite things, 5 stars. C. Elise Lott, and this is someone who's actually a writer and is going to be featured on the 2nd season of Clinch. I'm going to have a number of people with their own background and insight into publishing and writing, and then sharing short stories. It's going to be kind of cool, I think. One of my new favorite podcasts, Clinch, provides valuable information about about the publishing industry. Parenthetical, I can have multiple favorites, fight me. It also includes one of my – that's because Ted didn't like being one of her favorites in a different review. It also includes one of my favorite things about Gut Check podcast, Literacy Month in quotes because it lasts more than a year. So glad to have a new podcast to look forward to every week. Also, Judith is my spirit animal, and if you wonder what that means, you got to go listen to Clinch.
Yes. Dude, Judith, I got to say, is one of my favorite characters in the story. That character is well done, well written.
Dude, weird youth group kids. I mean, that's a topic rife for YA literature.
Just weird teenagers in general.
Right.
Oh man. All right. So next, these go to 11, and I mean, I think it's fair to say that the majority of these were from these Go to 11, but I want to thank everyone for sending out to Gut Check and Clinch because, again, it does help raise the standing of where the podcasts fall and just gets them, when you're doing searches and things like that, more easily accessible. So here we go. They are the patron saints of quality podcasts. 5-star from dude.
Pronounce that, dude.
This is like I'm going to spell this out because I don't even know how I could string this together to make sense of anything. So this is DHH FDC BGES DFFHHCDF. This is like the person fell asleep at their keyboard as they were typing their name out and didn't bother to backspace on it and fix it.
Oh, that's the money. And they didn't have to. You know what would have been funny if it was like 4 at the end. Like,
yes,
people had already taken that, but I'm really locked in on it.
Really, there were 4 others before that. What a fine podcast. I laugh, I cry. What a strange range of emotions. Loved the recent Striper banter and the throwback mention of Petra. It brought me back to the concerts at church with lasers burning carpets near the baptismal pool. LOL, keep on keeping on. TGT 11. Oh man. Dude, that was a fun one. I enjoyed that one. We gotta do more of those.
Striper-based episodes? Absolutely, yeah.
Well,
maybe there should be a recurring Striper segment.
Ooh, that would be good. Keeping people up to date on what Striper's doing. We could become their unofficial like publicists.
Dude, somebody on Facebook, did you see on the Facebook page somebody corrected me that Timothy Keynes actually got kicked out, so it's not all the original members.
Yes, I did see
what
that.
What do you do to get kicked out of Striper? How do you even get kicked out of Striper?
We want that information, listeners.
You wore like red and green spandex one show instead of yellow and black. You were like, you're done here. Good grief.
Oh my goodness. Oh man.
Dude, I want you to read this next one because it's 4 stars and it's not my favorite one.
Okay. All right. I'll take the next one and then you can take the next 2 because those are 5. All right. Still, in parentheses, love the show. 4 stars. B Sheets 84. Even after 2 years of listening every week, this is still one of my favorite podcasts. I look forward to every week with interesting, natural flowing topics and conversation. While I miss Greg and now miss Steve, Zach is a good host
that's
and has...
That's the part I don't love.
Well, you know what I should have just gone through and re-edited it. Zach is a great host and has a great nerd chemistry with Nathan. I'm sure after a few months it'll be back up to 5 stars when I'm done mourning the co-host loss of Steve and Greg. We can move on. Right. Soldiers Under Command, you're up.
Soldiers Under Command, 5 stars. This is from Schniffenhauser.
I know now nothing. I see nothing.
This is one of my favorites. It says, now with more Zach. It's evolved into a pretty cool podcast. Zach always makes me laugh out loud while wearing my headphones and thus embarrass myself in public. And I'm not just saying this because I want a free sticker and mug. Well, you got 2 weeks to claim your free sticker and mug. Get on it.
That's right.
And then after that, this is from an individual. He or she is called Barefoot MK Forever. I don't know if you've ever heard of this individual, but they're like the John Krotz of leaving reviews. Like they leave reviews all the time, quality reviews on great topics. This is called Great Stuff. It gets right to the point. I love listening to the podcast. I only recently started listening, but I've gone back and binge listened to a bunch, and I love it all. Great content.
Nice.
Yes, you got to get back there and hear the origin stuff, and there's so much good stuff back there.
Nice. Actually, Zach, I want you to read this next one too.
Okay. This is the brilliant one. It says it's 5 stars. Bob Sponge 41. I thought we saw that name earlier too.
We did, yeah.
Under the gut check. And it says these go to 11, but that's the name of the review. ... The ratings only go to 5. Double my rating and add 1. You do the math. Love the addition of Zach. The conversation is casual, yet not gut check casual, which for some may be a relief. For me, I won't complain if Nathan and Zach start busting out some new energy drinks on air and provide their on-the-spot reviews. Maybe Missionalware will start making an energy drink with personalized branding and not give any to Nathan, Zach, or especially Ted. Anything is possible. Keep cranking it at 11, guys. I think that Bob Sponge was drinking some energy drinks when he banged that out.
All right, let's do it.
No. Strong bro.
Oh, man. All right.
Oh, heavens to Betsy. I didn't notice this next one.
Yeah,
man.
I'll go ahead. I'll take this one. I'll take the bullet. All right.
I like how you're protecting my fragile ego, you know?
Dude, I love, because I don't care. I love the reviews no matter what, because it's like, I don't see anything negative in these 3 or 4 star reviews. Like, they're all positive things. So I scratch my head a little bit. What's that?
It's actually people doing the way you're supposed to do it, where you have to say, okay, what's the best podcast there is? Is it Serial? Is it Reply All? What is it? That's a 5.
Yeah.
And then they start saying, okay, so everything can't be a 5. And so it's people who are doing it more accurately, probably.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of accuracy that I don't like.
All right, here we go. Looking forward to new episodes. So this was a 3-star by J. Cudney, 39. Came across this podcast after listening to the Gut Check podcast and have really enjoyed what I have listened to. Nate and Zach do a great job of bringing reformed issues to the forefront, doing so in a down-to-earth manner. Great sense of humor, great topics covered. Enjoyed listening to both these dudes. So, still a good review.
Good, solid review.
That's right. Next one. Great podcast. 5-star by Son of a Preacher Man.
Dude, Son of a Preacher Man actually left 3 reviews on the Gut Check pod
really?
A couple of years ago. Like, every once in a while, we'll just leave a new one. Maybe they're updating the review. I guess that's what they're doing. But the name just pops up again and again.
Nice. Yeah, and I think because somebody asked me about that, and I said, yeah, you can leave multiple reviews, but I think the intent behind that is I know earlier on there was some complaints about our audio quality. And I'll admit, like, our audio quality before I got the hang of some of this stuff was usually it was a little quieter. And so you had to crank your volume all the way up in order to hear us.
To 11.
Yeah, exactly. It was intentional, people.
You got to realize, people, this guy didn't even have a cell phone at the time. He didn't know what he was doing.
Literally, I did not. All right. I have listened since the beginning. It was great back then and keeps getting better. Zach was a great addition to the podcast. Love the discussion every week. All right. You're up, man.
All right. These go to 11. 5-star J. Hiller 90. Wonderful Christ-centered pod about both profound and the practical theology. With the addition of Zach Bartles, it sounds like morning drive talk show. I love it. You know, that's my history in radio coming out.
That's right. See, you're putting your talents to use.
When I had just come out with my first major book with HarperCollins, mm-hmm. my publicist had me calling in, not calling in, but I guess I did call in, but as a guest on all these around the country, all these drive time radio shows.
Yep.
I'd have to get up really early and do the morning shows, and then I'd have to make sure I didn't have appointments in the afternoon. I don't know that it sold any books, but it's something they had me doing. And I was just watching. My family left on my day off. My family was away, and I went and watched a movie by myself, mm-hmm. which is not a sad thing to do at all. And it was the remake of the 1974 Charlie Bronson classic Death Wish.
Was that any good?
It was completely generic by the numbers, just like it was the quality of like a Death Wish sequel, like Death Wish 3. Remember that one? I mean, Eli Roth directed it, and I was very surprised at how little kind of real unique stuff there was. But one of they kind of had this like Greek chorus kind of deal going, where they'd have different podcasters and radio people talking about like what the cultural discussion was. You know, some people were for the vigilante, some were against him.
Yep.
And they kept going back to this guy Mancow, who I looked up, I guess is a major, like big time Chicago area DJ. And I was like, holy cow, I was on that guy's show and I didn't even realize I was on like the biggest thing in Chicago. It was lost in a sea of other, you know, Pittsburgh and Akron and, you know, everywhere. So
oh my word.
That was kind of funny. But yeah, when I was talking on those things, I remember falling back into like radio voice from my. I had two radio shows rather. I almost said TV again. I don't know where that's coming from.
That's your next
maybe
move.
In my or a former life maybe. But I had the Friday Night Party Zone with Zach Bartles, which I didn't name. The guy who owned the general manager of the station named it, and that was like rock and metal. That was like Stryper and like Ken Tamplin and like Mortification. And then I had the Top 20 show, which was the exact opposite. It was like, you know, DC
Newsboys and
Newsboys, Ian Eskelin.
Yeah, Jars of Clay.
Dude, this was pre-Jars of Clay even. Jars of Clay was when I was in college. This was like, we had a big year-long top 100 at the end of the year, and I would just choose who was number one. I just choose. And one year, the number one song was Eric Champion, "Into the Next Dimension." Remember this?
Yes.
It was a concept album, like a space story, and like in this world, Christians were outlawed, and it didn't matter. He was going to fight against like the AI that was running the world,
right?
And I made that the number one song of the year. And everyone was so surprised and disappointed.
Oh, my word. That's hysterical. Let's give this kid some power, see what he does.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was all of like 17 when I was doing this stuff. But it was such a little operation, and we were doing it practically for free. We were doing it for the free concert tickets. You'd get the backstage laminate for every single concert that came to, you know, this big chunk of Michigan that we covered, which was Flint, Saginaw, Bay City, you know, and so all the major groups would come through, and we'd get to go hang out backstage with them, and so we didn't care that we weren't really getting paid.
Right.
That was payment enough when you're 17 years old, and that's your bag.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally remember doing stuff like that. It's like, oh, I get to do this. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm in.
And we would get fed, you know, so there's that. That's always, when you're a teenager,
what more do you
feed
need?
Me, I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. I remember doing that. What was that?
I was just saying, can't find my checkbook. Hope I don't pay in change. If you don't mind, I pay in change. Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, my word. Dude, I was going to say, I remember being in high school, and my pastor and his family would need help with some things at different times, and, you know, grew up in a small country church, and so, you know, wouldn't accept money from them, but the pastor's wife would always cook whenever they would need help. And it was like, again, you know, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kid, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You know, this huge like tray of like nacho like goodness with cheese and meat, like just all splat, you know, and I'm just sitting there like destroying the thing. Like, what else do you need as a teenager?
No, you're happy. Give me a 2-liter of Mountain Dew and a plate of nachos. I'm in heaven.
And give me some 007 Bond and a couple friends, and it's just like, you know, college dorm night again.
Yeah, right. My pastor had a cute daughter that I was secretly into as well. So I would always go over to their house and help. Like, oh, their basement flooded. I'll go help. I'll go look altruistic. Sure. Nice.
Is that so without giving anything away, is that some of the inspiration that came from some of the stuff from your book? The clinch one? Where he's willing to go over and help?
Nah. There's never anything. I would never disclose anything about myself, even in a veiled narrative.
Oh man.
All right, we got 4 more here, huh? That sounds like 2 apiece here.
All right, let's do it. Turn It Up, 5-star, Tyler in Ohio. This podcast is awesome, and even more so with the epic addition of Zach. These guys always have level-headed and biblical thoughts on interesting topics. Definitely recommended. Were we really level-headed when we were talking about Stryper and Petra?
I think so. I think that was a very academic, dispassionate assessment.
We'll wait till the next one. Next one. Love it. 5 stars. Tex New Mex. Huh.
Tex New Mex.
Yeah. Interesting. It's good to have a podcast that's not hosted by stereotypically reformed stick in the mud. All in quotations there, stick in the mud. It's refreshing. We think so too.
Refreshing. Dude, I want to know more about what Tex New Mex means. Is this someone who's from Texas and now lives in New Mexico?
Ooh. Dude, that's deep.
All I know is that reading Tex New Mex made me hungry.
I know, right?
Like, I want a box of tacos now. Just not to review for anyone else, just for me.
Dude, you know what's going to be hard about this is after I get done, there's a taco place right up the road from where I live, and they make the most killer quesadillas, and I know the owner up there, so like I can get them like dirt cheap, and he does this mixture of steak and chicken quesadilla, and it is to die for. It is it's just amazing. So we need to hurry this up.
I'm not hearing the hard part. Yeah.
Well, the hard part's going to be on my bank book when I go and put the money down for one of these things.
All right, here we go. Last 2, a contemporary reformed podcast, 4 stars from Mr. Clymer. I appreciate the formality.
That's right.
I appreciate the range of topics covered by the podcast, but I have not heard one on eschatology. I appreciate the different views from my own dispensational, literal reading of Scripture. I would like to hear more conversations regarding the church and culture as the recent Exile episode. They have good guests and are easy to listen to. This is worth your subscription, in my humble opinion. It would be a good topic, I think, bring up a little eschatal. That doesn't work. Esco. Let's call it Esco. Let's go Esco one of these days.
Oh, that's the title.
I don't know where you even stand on this. This would be a very fun topic. It'd be fun to bring in somebody who's written a book on it.
Yeah.
Or just go. Do we have the technology to take calls?
It could be arranged.
That would be fun.
Arranged. We would have to change the format of what we're doing a little bit. So we would actually have to do we would have to drop into a Google chat room in order to do it. Uh-huh. Google Chat, Google Hangout. Yeah, Google Hangout. But yeah, we did that when we did the live podcast, I don't know, 2 years ago. That was a disaster if you hadn't heard that one. I have since improved, however.
I'm going to listen now.
That was supposed to be the 100th episode, but I think we miscounted because at that time I was doing like 3 other podcasts, and so like we were releasing them all with these go to 11. And so there was a literal miscount that went on. So I think technically the 100th episode was the 99th episode.
Which it works out since it wasn't good anyway, right?
That's so right.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, you're like I'm you like 2 years ago right now with like rocking like 3-4 podcasts at once, and you're kind of like the guy who's kind of settled into your wheelhouse and let some things go. Although I don't know, you're showing up. I know that Pop Culture Ninja was you and Nate number 2. Yeah. But I don't know. Every other week I'm seeing you posting links to. You're basically hosting it, right? I mean, you're basically co-hosting it anyway. All right, here's the last one. Worth every minute! 5 stars from Tree Building 101, which I wasn't aware was a thing. I thought that trees kind of built themselves.
You learn something new every day.
Great conversations and insights. I'll definitely be adding this one to my stable of Christian podcasts. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, can I disclose something at the end here that's going to be kind of hypocritical? I hate it when I turn on, like, there's a new ep of my favorite podcast. I've got 10 or 11 that I listen to pretty religiously, and they're like, "Hey, we're reading reviews today." I can't stand it. And yet it's so fun to read them. So it's good that you're doing a twofer tonight, so people can hear, if this isn't their bag,
that's right,
they can listen to the more theological discussion. But people who are more sophisticated and understand true entertainment can listen to both.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally want to remind people that if we called your name out and read your review, please, you have 2 weeks to email me at thesego to11, all spelled out, the number 15 at gmail.com. Let me know who you are. Don't forget to leave your address, because if you don't leave that, I will not be able to pass it on to send it to Mission Aware so they can send out your gift to you. So basically what we're looking at is these are going to release tonight on the 3rd. You have until the 17th to get back to me and let me know so that I can get your information into Mission Aware and they can send that stuff off to you all. And then Barefoot MK Forever, you will be getting a special copy of Zach's book, Clinch, sent to you when it comes out on paperback as a thank you for leaving a review on all 3 of the podcast sites. Zach, any last words or comments before we sign off here?
Dude, just that Jeff at Mission Aware is a saint.
Yeah,
and I'd like to have like a Mission Aware branded kind of like mouse pad or something with, how they have like the really cool pictures of Luther and Spurgeon and all these guys. I'd like one with just Jeff's face.
Ooh.
And then just Saint Jeff, pray for us now or in the hour of our death or something like that. And I think the guy needs major, just no snark, no tongue in my cheek. Thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, some of the other ways to thank him is, by going on, and if you are enjoying the products that you're receiving, we've done a couple of giveaways before, enjoying these, these shout outs to Mission Aware. Go on and order some stuff. I mean, this stuff really is great to order for, Christmas, birthdays, any occasion that you're thinking of. They have great whiskey flasks that they do some cool designs on. I have one that has the post Tenebrous Lux on it, After Darkness Light. And I have several family members who I have given gifts to. I always mention the T-shirt that I have, Post Tenebrous Lux, and then on the back of that I have the verse, He has brought us out of darkness and into His marvelous light. And so, just great products from them. And so, make sure that, these businesses are able to continue. The books that we recommend, the people that we have on, these businesses that we promote, it's because we think they're worth it. And so check them out.
Nice.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead. We're going to sign off now. Zach, we just rocked the Casbah.
These go to 11.